The Itsekiri nation in south-south region of Nigeria have a new monarch designate, Prince Uti Emiko, who was yesterday announced to replace the departed king, His Royal Majesty Ogiame Ikenwole. The new Olu of Warri designate was presented to the people as shouts of joy rented the air. He was born on April 2nd, 1984, holds a Bachelor of Arts degree majoring in international studies and political science, while minoring in history and economics. He holds a Master of Science degree in management. For a brief overview of the development and what it means for subjects to be, we're now being joined by Amaju Pinnick, President of the Nigerian Football Federation and a son of Itsekiri land. Welcome to the program. And like in the Itsekiri culture, I was greeting you this morning. For every Itsekiri people out there, Erowuro, and it is a new day for Itsekiri land and the new Olu of Warri. Can you tell me the symbolism of this?
Well, it's quite symbolic. You know, the Itsekiri nation is a very proud ethnic group. It's a nation that accounts for 28% of the country's oil wealth. You know, it's a nation that has produced so many important personalities. For example, Professor Grace Alele Williams, the first professor of mathematics and the first vice chancellor. They produced 3 secretaries to the federal government, Alisina Ida, Longe, and Ejoishi. They produced the second surgeon, Professor Richard Mr. Thomas. I can go on and on. It's a nation that is usually blessed. So what is going on to us is quite unfortunate. Ordinarily, when anybody sees me on TV, they believe I'm coming to talk football because that's my calling, and that's where I limit it. You know, I'm not going to go into secular politics. I'm not going to go into regular politics. My journey is in football administration. But if you go to Ephesians 3, chapter 8, Paul said it clearly, you know, I might be the least person to speak for the people, but the truth must be told. Uthman Danfodio of blessed memory once captured. He said, conscience is an open wound. Only the truth can heal it. And what is the truth here? We have an Omoba is a crown prince. In the next 3 months, by God's grace, he will be crowned as the Olu of Warri. Now, let us go into some of what has been playing out, in and out. You know, they were talking about an edict of 1978, which forbids the crown prince to take that mantle. Now, let's look at the origin of that edict. In 1978, there was a UPN government in place, and there were a lot of political persuasions as to what to do. Going into ascension at that point, you know, not just in the Warri kingdom, in various kingdoms, there used to be some kind of frictions. So the government at that point came together and said, okay, let us have something more streamlined, you know. So people came out with what they wanted, more about ethno and egocentrism, not about the people. When you make laws for the society, not for individuals. So when they came out, and if you look at Edo State then, or Bendel, or Midwest, most ethnic nationalities from that state have an origin from Benin. If you know what's called, if you're a student of history, you know that the Benin Kingdom is one of the most revered kingdoms anywhere in the world. So most ethnic nationalities, not just from Bendel, even from Nigeria, have their offshoots from this great kingdom. And that was why, you know, they said, okay, Benin. But even at that, are you going to say, for example, this same oracle that states, this same law that states that the edict forbids XYZ, this law still says that the oracle has the final say. I'm a child of God, I believe in God. But if the oracle says this is it, and that is it. Then secondly, let's look at what, I studied political science and public administration. You know, I went to school to acquire knowledge, not to pass exams. So I know the theatrics, the dynamics of all these things. So I can tell you clearly, there's what's called the residual, concurrent, and the exclusive list. The Constitution is in the exclusive list, which states clearly in Article 42.2, it states clearly that no Nigerian citizen can be denied his privilege because of circumstances of his birth. It's clear. So it's at variance with the edict, which means the Constitution is supreme. But we are not here trying to dictate what is right or what is wrong. I'm here basically to preach peace to my people. When some of the elders that refused to come out to speak, they've abdicated in their duties. So it depends on us, the newfound opinion leaders in Itsekiri land, to come out to preach the gospel of peace, because that's what Itsekiri is known for. Because this is the first time in the historiographic literature of the Itsekiri people where normally when Olu dies, there's a subtle tussle within the palace. But this is the first time it's taking this toll. It's taking about 4 months. So that's why people like us, a lot of people have been calling on us, oh, Amaju, you go on TV, you need to go and educate the people. You are somebody that they have some kind of respect for. So I have to come out to make people understand that this is a decision that is not reversible. Everybody, more than, take it from me, the entire Itsekiri nation, is so happy with this development of yesterday. And if you come to know about Prince Shola Emiko was trained. I knew him from childhood to be a king. And you see, Shola the Prince Omoba will redefine kingdoms in Nigeria. He was trained to be, if you see Prince Shola Emiko, you see like Prince William. He was trained. His etiquette is majestic. His poise, his character, he composed himself. You will never hear anything extremely negative about him.
Well, Amaju.
That I can tell you.
Amaju, very quickly, you talked about the 1979 Edict, which is what the Ologbo of Itsekiri land, Ayiri Emami, is relying on. And the clause that is relying on in that 1979 Edict is that whoever will ascend to the throne of the Olu of Warri must be 100% Itsekiri in terms of extraction. And that the main issue here is that the Olu designate that was announced yesterday, that the mom is Yoruba instead of being an Itsekiri. That's one. Let me finish. I just want to articulate some of the points he raised so that for our own education, you can address them one by one. Second, he said yesterday at the Ode Itsekiri, there are 7 kingmakers, but that only 2 kingmakers were in attendance. And therefore, as far as he is concerned, that cannot stand. 3, he says he, as the Ologbo of Itsekiri Kingdom, is a person who can announce the transition of the Olu of Warri, and that the announcement that was made yesterday is null and void because for as long as he remains, the Ologbo the Iya Shere cannot usurp his powers. Could you respond to those 3 controversial issues?
Yeah, first, let me take it from the last point. He knows Chief Ayiri Emami is my brother, is my friend. I had a 1-hour discussion with him yesterday. He knows that's quite sacrilegious for him to have insinuated that. You know, it's quite unfortunate. And he knows that I have huge regard for him. Because there's no doubt you will talk about the Itsekiri nation, you won't talk about Chief Ayiri Emami. During the crisis, he played a very pivotal role, even beyond that, you know. So he's been all about the Itsekiris. And I know clearly that he doesn't mean what he said. Secondly, he knows that because it's heavily sacrilegious. Because this is not reversible. The rights have started. The traditional rights have started. It has never been reversed in the history of Itsekiri. That I can tell you for free. So just forget about that issue. Talking about the 7 people that are meant to be, as a Ologbo Shere, you are entitled to adding 2 people, making the 5. There's the Oshodi, the Owangwe, the Yashere, then one other person, then the Ologbo Shere. The Ologbo Shere, who is supposed to be the head, is supposed to add 2. But according to what was going on, I was told he was suspended. So based on that, he could not have added 2 others. So the 4 others are already in place. The Oshodi, Chief Jemide, of course, a very proud Itsekiri man. There's no way he wasn't part of it. So, but like I said, I'm not going to be dwelling on this. He remains my brother. He knows any day, any time. And one thing I know that we play ultimately, you know, I say it to him all the time. Him and Prince Shola, if Shola becomes, by God's grace, in the next 3 months, Shola will be crowned as king. 2 of them complement each other because they come from the 2 different sides of 2 different extremes of civilization. You know, so I can be talking in calculated ambiguity, but I can tell you clearly that that's what eventually will play out. Then, if you're talking about the first one, about the edict, which I've explained to you clearly, is at variance with the country's constitution. That's number 1. Number 2, we had the tussle 2-3 years ago between the Oba of Lagos and the Oba of Benin, who is supreme. It's clear, the Benin Kingdom. So if you are saying origin, which is what's called consanguinity, consanguinity is a relationship by descent. What does it mean? So if you look at the Yorubas, my daughter's name, for example, is Olayemi. In Itsekiri, it means my strength suits me. But everybody believes it's a Yoruba name. There's a town in Ondo which they speak 100% Itsekiri. So if you come to wonder, which is even closer to the Itsekiris? Is it the Yorubas or the Benis? Because my son's name is Temisan. In Yoruba, it's Temison. So we can go on and on and on and on. But trust me, that one is inconsequential because it has variance with our national laws, with the Constitution, which states clearly, which I've stated, just go and check the Nigerian Constitution, Article 42.2. You will see it clearly. You cannot subject any Nigerian by circumstances of his birth to deprivation or disability. It's not possible.
Well, any edict that contradicts the Constitution is probably null and void. But if Chief Ayiri Emami does decide to mount the legal challenge that he's threatening, the courts will decide that. As far as I'm concerned, blessed are the sons of Yoruba mothers. Thank you very much. Now, Prince Emiko, have you spoken with him? What's his reaction to all of this that's going on?
Like I told you, he composed himself. He's a wonderful, brilliant guy. And trust me, Chief Ayiri Emami doesn't have anything against him. Ayiri just trying to look at some of the laws, and he's had some pressure from some people. But the coming of Prince Emiko will redefine a lot of things in a Warri land. That I know. Because there are a lot of things that are not right, that a lot of people are not happy about. So these are the people that are putting pressure on him. I know his heart. His heart is as clear as crystal. But he is not going to mount any. But even if he does, he knows it is sacrilegious and is not going to win that battle. Because guess what? 98.99999% of the entire Itsekiri nation wants Prince Emiko, who was trained from birth to be a king. Look at him. He was trained to be a king. So, and he knows all the dynamics, all the theatrics, all the etiquette relating to that office. Unfortunately, Ikenwole, an amazing, amazing king. His life is all for people. It's unfortunate he passed. But we are talking about destiny. Destiny. And destiny has behold on Prince Emiko to mount that saddle of responsibility, which perhaps was erroneously denied to him 5 years ago. But you see, once there is destiny, I take myself as an example. Once destiny speaks, nothing contradicts it.
All right, amazing insights. I just want to know what will be the future plan of mending fences, because the Itsekiri nation and the Iwere nation, yes, because I'm excited you called it Iwere nation, because actually Iwere, not Warri. It's the British that couldn't call Iwere, that started calling it Warri. There's nothing like Warri, so it's Iwere that we know. When is the Iwere nation going to come together, and the Warri kingdom and people going to come together? When are you going to bridge the gap? Because in 3 months' time, it will not look good for court challenges here and there. And what is the future for the people of that land?
No, listen, let's not go there. Because even yesterday you saw that everybody, everybody A to Z is 100% in support of what's going on. And me, I know, for example, I know Prince Emiko is an amazing guy with a large heart. He is going to call. Forget that Bernard, Jayi, Toba, they're all his uncles. He will make them realize they're his uncles, but they also need to support him at this moment. He's a man of peace. If we also talk to the Olu of Warri, he's a man of peace. He knows he needs to start mending fences. He knows that. He has learned a lot. I'm telling you, he was prepared to be a king. For example, nobody can tell me that I don't have the authority to speak on behalf of the Itsekiri. It's not possible. My father was the late Olu of Warri. He died 39 years ago. Till today, his title has not been given to another person. The Olu of Warri means the king outside the kingdom. So it's not just a peripheral king. So you cannot tell me I cannot speak on behalf of the Itsekiris. My dad was a member of the Warri Communal Land Trust and one of the first black USA managers. He was always being celebrated in beyond Bendel State. My mom, from the highly revered Ayomike family, His elder brother, the late historian, a former commissioner in the old Bender state, that was his immediate elder brother, is the Mayomi family of Ugborodo, what people call, what the colonials have coined to be escravos. So I have the full authority to speak as an Itsekiri, because I'm a full-blooded Itsekiri man. So it hurts me the way it hurts every Itsekiri all over the world, what is going on. But we are happy that at least we passed through all the hurdles. It's just to crown him. That's the next point. And God willing, he will be crowned in 3 months. That I can assure you. Because in Itsekiri land, there is no going back. The rights have started, the rights will continue, and the rights will end peacefully. And there will be reconciliation. I'll be part of the reconciliation. We love the Itsekiri nation. It's a very unique ethnic group. It's one of the few, if not the only ethnic groups in Nigeria that has just one king, one language, and one culture.
Well,
with a lot of oil in his backyard.
Quickly, Olu of Warri is the prime minister, but in the course of this process, other princes were mentioned, about 3 or 4 others among them. When you say that yesterday everybody was happy, are those princes, or those other princes who had shown interest, are they also happy and there is no controversy from that direction? Can you assure us?
Like I told you, when there is ascension to the throne, there's usually tussle within the palace. But this is the first time it's taking this toll. And I can assure you, at the end of the day, when they think Itsekiri, when I mean think Itsekiri, the Itsekiri blood goes into their vein. They will not rethink. And of course, the crown prince will also reach out. That I can tell you freely, because nobody thrives in anarchy. Nobody wants to be in that position where you will not have peace. And I know he is a man. Listen, Shola was trained to be a king. He knows, he learned A to Z, and he can tell you clearly that this is what his direction will be, his focus will be. And trust me, nobody should be scared, because he will only do what is good for his people, the Itsekiri people, and that is it. What is the interest of the Itsekiri people? He will always protect it. He's been trained from birth. If you are talking to Shola, you will know that this man is a king.
Well, Amaju, just for our own enlightenment, at the ceremony in Itsekiri yesterday, the Oni of Ife sent a representative to be at that announcement. The Otun of Ure-Ekiti was also there. What is that special connection?
Oh, geez. You see, let me tell you.
The Benin Kingdom was also represented.
Yeah, let me tell you, that is what I'm saying. This is a very special tribe. Of course, the Oni is not, or of course, is one of the most foremost and most respected traditional rulers in this continent. For him to have done what he did, you should know that it was not a mistake. It was not a fluke. He knows the direction. He knows clearly that this is the right thing. The same thing with the Ekiti, same thing with, and other. Listen, I've spoken to a lot of traditional rulers all over the country, even from the north, and they all says it clearly. And you will see the coronation. You see a number of traditional rulers worldwide that will turn out in that coronation in 3 months' time. That I can assure you. But I'm telling you, I'm begging my brothers, the Olu of Warri, this is not the time. We must come together and look at it. If the Warri Traditional Council that believes they suspended you, I believe it's just to make peace, just to create way. At the end of the day, like I said, you and the Crown Prince, you guys complement each other. You are from different extremes. You be the traditional, you are the Prime Minister. I don't think anybody wants to take that from you. Then every other, it's just about personal interest. But let us relegate personal interest at the expense of what we are headed for. Peace, rejuvenation, rebrand, rebuild of the Itsekiri kingdom. A lot has been going on. And we believe God loves us so much. And that's why God, at this time, is bringing Prince Emiko to head this throne. And to us, like I said, 99.9999% of the Itsekiri nation are excited about this.
But you've said before that this move, this sort of resistance is unprecedented. Why do you think this is happening now?
Yeah, because of the interest, various interests. That's the truth.
Can you elaborate? I want to know details if you can share them.
You see, whatever I say, we are marching towards peace. We don't want to march into animosity or acrimony or bickering. We are marching towards peace. So there are some things that you say that will infuriate, possibly, the very tiny very, very tiny opposition at the moment. But we are trying to unite everybody at this moment, you know. So I'm not going to go into all this. Mine is just to basically preach peace for our people and make them realize that this is destiny and nobody changes destiny.
Okay. So I understand that Chief Mami Ayiri is joining us by phone now. If you can hear me, Chief Ayiri, what's your reaction to all that happened yesterday in Warri, Delta State, as regards the Olu of Warri designate?
If you can hear me, Chief Ayiri, what's your reaction to all that happened yesterday in Warri, Delta State, as regards the Olu of Warri?
The unveiling of your lover. Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you. Hello?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Chief.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. My name is Chief Ayiri Mami, the Olu Chair of Warri. You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, loud and clear. Go ahead.
Okay. Whatever that happened yesterday, as I earlier said, is non-avoid because it's only the local chair by the 1979 Edict that can do that. As to me, the Olu, as of today, has not joined his ancestors traditionally. Amaju knows me very well. Amaju is my brother. He knows what I stand for. I stand for Itsekiri. There is no other definition about Ayiri. If he wants to talk about Itsekiri, he knows me very well. I have no personal problem with Chola Emiko. Chola Emiko is very close to me, but all I've said is that you must follow the tradition and the custom. And I will not dance to the gallery. I will never. He knows me. My problem is we have 5 kingmakers. 5 kingmakers are Ayiri Mami, which is the local chair, the Iyashe, the Wangwe, the Ojomo, and what's it called? Oshodi. And in the Edict, I have power to call 2 noblemen if anything seems to happen. And before today, on the 5th of February, I've started the process. But according to the Edict, what's the process? If the Olu is indisposed, I need to inform the family. I'm the only one that has the right to inform the family and the Itsekiri, whatever that is happening in the palace. And which I did on the 5th of February by telling them to go and put their house together that the Olu health is very bad. And at any time, anything can happen. In that process, I need the Olarebi or the Olorebi who I will be communicating with that will go back in turn to go and get me Olu designate in case anything happens, which I did. And they nominated one Emiko, which is a late Okotebo's son. And I wrote to them, in fact, that they should give me Olu designate. And they brought Chola. They brought Chola Emiko. This said Chola was disqualified 5 years ago, not by me, by the Ojomo and Ochodi. And the Ochodi and the Ojomo, they are still alive. Ochodi was in Asaba the first day to tell the police that he will never partake in illegality. These are men about 80, 89 years. And they are well schooled. This is not issue about Ayiri. And this is not issue about influence from anywhere. I'm just saying, do the right thing. And if you said it's going to be Shola, succession process, let's follow it. I don't have problem. Let's not even go into the section 4, which disqualified Shola 5 years ago. Go to section 2 of the Edict. Section 2, on the demands of the Olu, succession goes from father to son. If it's not suitable, go to the brother. If it does not suitable, go to the uncle. If there's no uncle, go to the grandson. If there's no grandson, you go to other family members where Shola belongs. And I said, okay, subject Shola to that process. And I have to do that because whatever you are talking is tradition. Most of them that are talking, they are not going to partake, they are not going to take the risk. I'm the one that will face the risk at the end of the day. Rowena did similar thing. After 1 year, after 6 months, he died. So you are suggesting me to the wrong? I said no. For just sake, well, I went down to the gallery. But if you say the entire Itsekiri are here, okay, let's do it the way they crucified Jesus. You can come on that way, but not coming to the public, behaving as if I have something against Chola. I used to tell them, I said some of you, they need to check your DNA. Amaju's father will not tolerate this as an Itsekiri man. Let me tell you, when they are saying he has started the process, his grandfather did not go through the process. His grandfather did not even take Iken to Jala. Let me tell Amaju, if he doesn't know, that Chola's grandfather, Erejua, which is my own uncle, did not take Iken to Jala. We have 2 Olu that did not partake in this right. And the danger behind this, I'm from Ondo. My mother is from Ondo. My own uncle in Ondo was dethroned. A simple example, that they didn't follow the process. That's why our past is the king. So what is Amaju saying? So he wants to take Chola there, and tomorrow being disgraced. And that's what I don't want. I don't like what I'm doing. I don't like what I'm doing at the moment.
Well, one of the details that have been put out there is that one, the Olu designate, Princess Shola Emiko, was chosen 100% by the Oracle. Because you know that in the course of the controversy, some people said the Oracle should be consulted. And secondly, Amaju Pinnick told us earlier that people are happy with this choice. And you seem to be, you and a few others who are not happy with it. What is the option available to you? Are you planning to go to court over this matter? Or there is the option of resolution, reconciliation, national unity among the Itsekiris?
Yeah, let me tell you, there are processes before the Oracle. There are processes before the Oracle.
The Oracle has the final say.
Yeah, no, listen, I'll tell you whether the Oracle has the final say. If you look at the Edict, you must pass through the process. What are the processes? When such things happen, I'm going to announce to the family. The family will give me Olu designate. The Ojoisa will sit down. Whether the Olu designate met the condition. If his doubt is it, then I will now have to take the Olu designate and the Ojoisa, alongside with the Ojoisa to Oracle. Nobody else has the power to take Chola and Emiko to Oracle. They should go and challenge it. Again, similar in 3 years ago, they said Ayiri cannot be, that the Oracle rejected Ayiri. That's what they said. This same group of people, 3 years ago, they said the Oracle. And the only man that has the legal right to go with Chola to Oracle is me, after due process. Anybody that tells you the Oracle has the final say, it's like you going for an election. They say you have to come with your, what's it called? You have to come with school cert and whatever certificate equivalent. You now go there with your nursery school certificate that you are contesting for governorship. That I need to pass you. The Oracle has the final say, but after the due process. And how is the due process? The due process is being conducted by the local chair. Simple. So it's not that I have anything. I wouldn't have come on air, but to me, I've not taken any decision. But I'm just trying to make the whole world, they should know that I have no personality, because a lot of allegations in police, I really want to be king. No. And let me tell you, there's nobody in this world that can suspend me apart from a sitting Olu. Everybody has their family. How much you know? No chief, no family can suspend the lowest chief in the palace. Nobody. And once the Olu is indisposed, the Ologboshere, once he's alive, he acts. And
can I come in,
there's
please?
no Ologboshere. Nobody can grant Chola except the Ologboshere family. I have all the documents with me.
Well, Chief Emani, Chief Ayiri Emani, please let's allow Amaju Pinnick to respond to some of the issues you have raised about process and history.
Yeah, clearly.
Over to you, Amaju Pinnick.
Yeah, clearly in the past we have had 20 Olu of Warris. and only 4 Ologboseres. I want you to go and draw an inference about that. Only 4 Ologboseres. And only 1 Ologbosere has crowned the Olu, based on our history. What does that tell you? I just want to talk to my brother Ayiri to tread carefully at this point. Is to tread carefully, because what he's doing, Itsekiri is not a regular kingdom. It's a kingdom ordained by God. Because if you look at the people, we are less than 1 million, but we control 28% of the country's oil wealth. They are not regular people. They are people, when I'm talking, I talk with authority. I did not go to school to pass exams, like I said earlier on. I went to school to acquire knowledge. That was why I'm the president of the Nigerian Ball Federation. That was why I'm a member of the CAF Executive Committee. And that was why I'm a member of the FIFA Council. If you have this kind of knowledge, you cannot climb, you cannot ascend to that level of prominence in global football or global organization. So I'm talking with authority. I know what I'm talking about. I'm happy he said that my father was not irregular. From childhood, I've been following my dad. No way I didn't follow my dad. I knew when my dad was made a chief. It was 4 years before I was born. 1966, my dad was made a chief with Dr. Wiki of the Central Waterview Clinic in Warri, Chief Uromashoma, and Chief Efueye, and one other person. I have all the records, and I know who is in Itsekiri land. So it's clearly stated that I am just still appealing to him. He shouldn't allow, because he knows. Chief Ayiri knows that this process can never, ever be reversed. It's not possible. The process is fixated on what? Crowning Shola Emiko in 3 months' time. And by God's grace, nothing will stop it. Are we still talking about the edict? I just told you, when you're in year 2 in school studying political science or public administration, there's what's called the residual, which is local government, concurrent, which is local government and state, and the exclusive. The Constitution of Nigeria is in the exclusive list. And it states clearly, and please go and read this, 42.2. I'm not going to be repeating myself. So forget the edit. The edit was put together by people that have, of course, various persuasion, various interests. We are not going to go into that. We do not want to look for, we are trying to make peace. And I'm still appealing to you. Don't allow yourself, you are somebody that has paid your dues in Iwere land. So please, with all due respect, don't allow yourself to be used by people that only prevaricate, that they hide under you to do all those things like that, and we know them. You cannot tell me, Atabrata, you cannot tell me, you know clearly our relationship from the beginning. We are 2 people most people look up to growing up in Warri. So I want to appeal to you, please, this is not the Itsekiri that I know. Everything we do it within the confines of the Agofe, and it ends there. So please, you can imagine me coming out to speak for the Itsekiri nation, because a lot of people, they've called me worldwide. Amaju, please, you need to go and try and educate the people. We know you can do it. So we're not coming here trying to drag your position, but I've stated it clearly. We've had 20 Olus, only 4 Ologboseres. What does that tell you? Of the 4 Ologboseres, only 1 have crowned the Olu. What has happened? Nothing. And nothing will happen in 3 months' time. The Itsekiri nation is 100% united against Prince Shola Emiko. And that is the truth. We are not going to go back on it.
So, Chief Emami, you've heard now from Mr. Pinnick, and also from what you said, you went to great lengths to stress that your complaint is not from out of a personal animus to Prince Emiko. What you are objecting to is some procedural lapses, as you perceive them. Are you willing to let those lapses be corrected, or just let it slide so that Prince Emiko can actually be crowned the Olu of Warri?
Are you willing to let those lapses be corrected, or just let it slide so that Prince Emiko can actually be crowned the Olu of Warri?
Thank you very much. There are some things that is being said by Amaju, and I want to, maybe Amaju will not understand why you have 4 Ologbosere in the history of Itsekiri. There are some things that is being said by Amaju,
Do go on, sir.
Chola father is a lawyer, and he knows the power of Ologbosere, and he reigned for 28 years. He had no 1 Ologbosere. He was operating in turn of Eredua, which is Chola's grandfather, he had two Ologbuchere, which is Maiku and O.N. Rowane. You understand? So, having Ologbuchere as a Lu is his own prerogative, whether he needs it because of the enormous power of the Ologbuchere. But let's come to the issue. My own case, my decision, I will make my decision in few days because I'm going to do a wider consultation. Because whatever I'm doing today, if you ask the Inspector General of Police, is not what I intend to do. Because as a Itsekiri, we don't watch our dirty linen outside. We don't watch it outside. We do everything indoor. But going to the public, saying that Ayiri was one of those that invaded the palace on the 29th because you want to bring in Chola, because I say you should follow due process. You understand? Try to blackmail me all over the world as if I want to be Olu. When something I believe in, I say you have to do the right thing. Foundation that were laid. Because after Chola, somebody can just come out with money tomorrow and say they want to be Olu. It will not follow due process.
What are we talking about due process?
Happened, after Chola
when there's a national law.
After Chola reign, somebody is talking about national law. Yeah. We have laws that guide the Itsekiri people.
Okay.
At the expense of national law.
Okay.
Talking about the constitution, that will be interpreted by lawyers.
Okay. Chief Ayiri and Mr. Amaju Pinnick, I'd like to thank both of you for coming here. But for peace and in furtherance of the Itsekiri and the Warri Nation, I believe that both parties should go talk in private and, and uphold justice and come together. But thank you so much, you both, for your time. That's all in New Zealand. We'll take a short break now. And when we return, we'll talk to Michael Wilson and we'll talk to Adesu Omora, talk to Aaron, and the show continues right here. We'll be right back.